Welcome to this week's Game News Show. We have a lot going on. Nintendo has pretty much taken over the entire news cycle, but there's some other things that happened in the last week that we should talk about. So let's get to it. Here we go. Got tweets pulled up, content pulled up for us to review. From Sega Forever, Sonic Jam, the Sega Saturn collection of Genesis Sonic titles, was released 26 years ago today. One of my favorite. I really like the GIF too. This animation, like, I don't know, this was big time back when I was a kid and had a Sega Saturn instead of a PlayStation. But I loved Sonic Jam because it gave you the best versions, what I feel were the best versions of the Genesis titles. Sonic Origins is cool. It wasn't Sonic Jam. And that's how important it is. But it's very cool. Got released 26 years ago today. Saturn was a fun system. All right, speaking of Sonic, Game Gear games in Sonic Origins Plus, Rock Paper Shotgun has a story saying some people tweeted about the experience with the Game Gear games. Amy has a super form. That's not really that surprising. But more importantly, the Game Gear game emulation is kind of wonky. Sounds like they're trying to do some kind of like doubled up stereo effect. I haven't watched this video. I'm not going to play it just in case. But Sonic Origins Plus does launch this week. It's a re-release of Sonic Origins from last year with Amy added as a playable character in all 4 games, and Knuckles added into Sonic CD, I believe, plus 12 Game Gear games that are playable as well. It'll be DLC that you can get if you already have Sonic Origins, or you can just buy the physical edition. That comes out the end of this week on Sonic's birthday, June 23rd. Also my mom's birthday, so if you're watching this, Mom, happy birthday. I'll probably call you. Okay, moving on. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw this. McDonald's made a game. They contracted a game. There's a website and everything. Apparently McDonald's has like this whole thing for Grimace's birthday. And there's this Game Boy game that came out. I don't know if I covered this on Game News previously, but I thought it was funny. Apparently this also works in like a Game Boy emulator and theoretically can be loaded to a cart and played on a Game Boy Color. I believe people have done this. I just thought it was funny. It's a very short story here, but yeah, hilarious. The website that they built around it looks very retro. It's very funny to me. One of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis was a McDonald's game. And games like that makes me miss like classic licensed games for brands that didn't like have anything to do with gaming. Because on the Sega Genesis, McDonald's Treasureland Adventure, the soundtrack is fantastic, and I've said this before on this channel, and I've even made like a couple of reels about the soundtrack. It's a good soundtrack. Gameplay, the game's fun. I mean, it's not difficult. It can be difficult. It's made by Treasure, and if you're familiar with their work, they make some like old school hard video games. So this is not them, but long story short, there's another McDonald's game, and it's funny. Apparently Grimace rides a skateboard. If you recognize any of these characters, you're old. This event isn't for children to get McDonald's. There's a purple shake now, apparently. I don't know. I don't go to McDonald's anymore. So I have no idea what's going on. All right, let's move on. We got Game Pass updates. So Need for Speed Unbound, Arcade Paradise. I don't know what these are. I'll be really honest. None of these look familiar except Need for Speed. A lot of these look like indie games. That's cool. I'm sure good. Bookwalker. That's probably scary. I don't know. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. That's just Harvest Moon. All right. Anyway, looks cool. More Game Pass games are always good. Final Fantasy 16 is coming out pretty soon. I forgot when it launches. It's this week, next week. It's very soon. June 22nd. So right before Sonic Origins Plus. Square always trying to compete with Sega, I guess. Kidding. But Final Fantasy 16. Coming from Polygon, have a new game plus and a day one patch after I think they said it wasn't expected to have one. A day one patch. Apparently it's a small update that fixes some like rare bugs and other silly things that might happen. So cool. I think it's pretty neat. The game looks great. I don't have a PlayStation 5 to play it, but you know, it looks neat. I thought it was funny. All right, big news. Biggest news of this whole episode this week. Nintendo announced a Direct for June 21st. When this goes live on YouTube, the Direct will have already happened because it's at 10 a.m. Eastern. So that's 9 a.m. Central, which I will be streaming. So the Twitch stream that we would normally do on Wednesday mornings at 8, I'm canceling. This will be, I will do a reaction stream, but I will be on YouTube for it. There are reasons for that, mostly because I don't want to have to edit a reaction video, and this can just live on YouTube easily, and I don't have to wait for an export. Secondly, it just makes sense. We'll just roll with it and let it ride. It'll be a fun time. So tomorrow morning, the 8 a.m. stream will be 9 a.m. and on YouTube to react to this Nintendo Direct. It's 40 minutes long. All we know for sure is it'll feature Pikmin 4. I promise you, if it's 40 minutes of Pikmin 4, I don't know what I'll do, but it's not going to be 40 minutes of Pikmin 4. They said other games. Other games are more important than Pikmin 4. I mean, if you like Pikmin, you like Pikmin. It's just, it's not for me. All right, moving on. I've covered the Nintendo Direct plenty. That's why I'm kind of going quick through it, because I did a whole video on predictions today. I'm doing a whole reaction stream tomorrow. I literally have nothing to add in this video. Let's talk about Xbox and IGN showcasing some indie games on July 11th. This is just an announcement of some commercials. But there's sometimes like some really cool stuff that comes out of ID at Xbox. It's a cool program. It'd be nice to see other games coverage. I like that game announcements are being spread out across June and July, across summer, because if we had everything just announced during E3 week, I mean, there would have been no time to cover it all. And there never was. Like, I've always felt bad for like journalists, games journalists, who had to like write up quick articles on it all the time and like have the trailers pulled and ready. And oh my gosh, it was so much work. Now, you know, these bigger events, they make sense. Well, smaller but more focused, bigger events. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, it's cool. Let's check it out. Indie games will be neat. Okay, I thought this was interesting. If you guys remember Metal Gear Solid 4, I've never played it. I'm like a second or third degree fan of Metal Gear Solid. I've never played it, but I'm familiar enough with the story to have some interest in the series. But MGS4 was launched, it was exclusive to PS3. Everybody thought it was like a Sony deal, right? I did back in the day. Apparently, they built it and had it running on Xbox 360, but would not release it. It was held back over DVDs. Imagine that. The game turned out to be like 30 gigs. It was on a dual layer Blu-ray, which was a maximum of 50 gigs. So let's say the game took up the full 50 gigs. Even dual layer DVDs, you'd need like 5, 6 of them to just get close to that. The game ended up being 30 gigs, so I think you would still need 4 dual layer DVDs. So pretty interesting. If it had released, we'd probably be able to play it on our Series S and X now through backwards compatibility instead of not being able to play it at all. Just being real honest, it's locked to the PS3, and that's lame. So I think Konami should revisit this game and release the Xbox port as a standalone thing. Just go ahead, work with Microsoft to make it happen. There's no reason not to. It would make tons of money. You could even, because the architectures are so similar, it could run on PS5 very easily. Just do the thing. It would take some development work. I don't know. Konami like sometimes reminds us that they're a company and they like money, but then they make really dumb decisions, and it's like, you really don't like money, do you? Anyway, moving on. We got Halo. So season 4 of Halo Infinite started today. A lot of things happening in this. A lot of things that should have been there from day one. So infection, career rank. I have a different screenshot to show some of this. Some new maps, a new arena and BTB map, some new Spartan equipment. So quantum translocator, sounds like a teleporter to me, and threat seeker, which I guess seeks out enemies and tags them. Some updates to Forge, some updates to the armor and weapon customization, a new battle pass, and then it says and more, but I think that's pretty much it. What is this? It's just an animated picture. It's not even a GIF, it's a video, so neat. The thing with Halo 4 Season 4 is that it looks like the game is finally coming into its own. It's just a shame it took this long to get to this point. I understand game development is hard, and don't ever misunderstand me. But these things, the game should have been delayed like 1 year to really narrow these things and hammer these things out day one. Because Halo launching without infection is still the weirdest thing to me. The career rank kind of felt backwards after the last couple of games had. I think Halo 5 had it. I don't really remember for sure. But it's just a lot of little stuff that would have made Halo Infinite feel like a bigger game. It did. The Halo Infinite launched without infection. It's finally back. Today, Season 4 started. So, it's very weird. But yeah. So, then I found this picture that kind of shows like a visual representation of the customization, all the updates, and then the new armor theme for the season, which hazmat. All right, it makes sense. One thing that bummed me out, which is this tweet here, they've refined this is a long TLDR. They are refocusing the teams, and they were pushing to get Season 4 out, and so they decided to scrap the season cutscenes, and it really stinks because Season 2 and 3 had such good cutscenes that set a story for each season that gave you like a whole narrative to like draw you in and make you want to do the things that season. But I hope they can come back to it. I hope that with all the restructuring and things going on at 343, that Halo can kind of, it feels like they're finally getting back on their feet as far as the gameplay goes. But I like the cutscenes. It's a strange thing to cut, to be honest. Okay, final bit of news for game news tonight. This was last week from The Verge, which probably wasn't the source. It was an interview with Axios, but Microsoft's no longer making Xbox One games. Now, you may say, but that's all I have. Well, you can still play your Xbox Series S and X games that you can't buy for your Xbox One on the Xbox One through cloud gaming, which is a cool idea, at least as a short term, like a stopgap. You know, at least it's not the whole you don't want always online, well, you can buy an Xbox 360 kind of situation. You guys remember that? Don Matrick back in the day. Worst mistake Microsoft made in the Xbox generational series. Anyway, where's I going with this? Okay, point is, no, this should be of no surprise to anyone. It is time to move on. The VCR is dead. The Kinect is dead with it. I think it's fantastic because now they can really just focus go all in on the newer hardware without having to worry about, can we make it run on this underpowered, poorly optimized piece of tech. Not all of that's Microsoft's fault, but it is their console, and it ran, and I enjoyed my time on Xbox One. But the Series S and X just feels like the logical next step. It's kind of like when you buy a new GPU and your computer feels better. That's how it felt getting an Xbox Series S and X. Both of them just feel so much better to even just navigating the menus. It's the same interface. It's just so much smoother. Might have been one of the few people that enjoyed the Kinect. I liked the Kinect. I did not like the jank that came with the Kinect, to be honest. Like, there was so much with it that just, it was fun until it wasn't fun, right? I liked it. I liked the gesture controls, like using your hand to navigate. I liked the voice commands. They worked very well. I thought those were super cool. But yeah, so that does it for this week's Game News Show. Thanks for hanging out. If you're watching on Twitch, we're about to play Zelda. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, and tell me your favorite Xbox One game that wasn't multi-platform and down in the comments. And yeah, anyway, that's all good. That's done. Bye.